I found something in the store.
Okay. What did you find?
The place. I found a place.
Hello?
आपको खुश आमदीद कहते हैं।
Anyone there?
Look, I know how this sounds, but you gotta understand, it's massive in there.
I'm not saying I don't believe you.
Okay, I'm gonna come back here with proof.
All right, you feel me?
Yeah. Follow my lead.
Clark, what is this?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I've been there every night since I found the place, and I still barely scratched the surface. All right, just take it slow.
Welcome back to the latest Weekend Warrior Show video review. This is my video review for Kane Parsons' Backrooms, which will be released by A24 on May 29th. A24 graciously invited me to an earlier screening with Kane and actor Chiwetel Ejiofor doing a Q&A afterwards. So I'm recording this on Friday morning, May 22nd, having seen it last night, on Thursday night. Backrooms is coming into movie theaters this weekend with a lot of hype due to Parsons' previous Backrooms YouTube series, which built upon a creepypasta meme in the vein of Slender Man, which I actually knew very little about this meme. I knew very little about Backrooms. I watched a little bit of one of the episodes just to see what it's about, kind of. But I wanted to go into the movie clean as someone who maybe didn't really know of Kane Parsons' earlier work. Like the series, the movie is based around something coined liminal spaces, which I don't really know much about, don't really understand, even after listening to Kane talk about it during the Q&A. Although I'm kind of intrigued by how those spaces connect with spaces in our dreams. And I'll try to read more about it, but not doing so before reviewing this movie, which I'm basically just going to review based on what I saw and how I felt about it. In Backrooms, Chiwetel Ejiofor plays Clark, a man who has been separated from his wife, who has anger issues, he has alcohol issues. He also owns a furniture store called Captain Clark's Ottoman Empire, where things aren't going much better than in his domestic life. He has a therapist named Mary, played by Norwegian actress Renate Rensby, who you might have seen in Sent Up Into Value last year. We watch a few sessions between the two of them where Clark pretty much loses it. But back at the furniture store where Clark records ads wearing a sea captain's outfit. It's definitely like Crazy Eddie's type thing. He's having electronic issues and power outages, which leads him to go down to the store's sub-basement one night. And he discovers this whole other area on the other side of a fake wall. As you can see from the trailer and my background, all the walls in this space are painted a bright yellow with fluorescent lighting, very clinical, very liminal, I guess. But it's only really the first of the rooms and halls which have that painting, and it gets kind of grimier and grimier the deeper you go into this space. Again, I'm not going to spoil too much about it, but even before you meet Clark, we watch a bit of found footage of someone navigating these halls and something bad happened to them. So we get some idea that maybe this is not a good place to go. Backrooms is mostly about the spaces, and they're all quite interesting. There are these tunnels, there's these holes in the walls, there's strange objects sticking out of the floor, some of them which seem to come from the furniture store above. We don't know. It makes the viewer kind of curious, just as it does Clark and anyone else who enters these spaces. There are definitely aspects to Backrooms which is very dreamlike, which is something that I definitely could appreciate and enjoy. Except that I was pretty confused as things went along, and not a lot was happening because I just didn't know what was going on and nothing was getting explained. The horror aspects of the Backrooms can be pretty effective, especially in the scenes when Clark, his assistant Kat, and her boyfriend are first exploring the space together, with the latter filming on his camera. For some reason, this movie's set in 1990, and I'm not quite sure why this was the case, except that maybe it was to remove cell phones from the equation because that would make it easier for someone who gets stuck in the space to reach out and contact someone and say, "Hey, come get me." But that's I mean, it's set in 1990. It's kind of okay. Anyway, when Clark's down there in the filming, that's when with the real kind of horror stuff starts happening. People fall down holes. They end up encountering something. I don't know. Again, I try not to spoil very much, but you can imagine there's scary stuff down there. It's a horror movie. You have to expect that. Anyway, the production and sound design work is pretty amazing. As I said before, these are crucial elements to any horror working at all. You have to have good sound. You have to have good production design on, especially in these cases when they have interior spaces. I also give a shout out to my namesake, who is Edward J. Douglas, who's the visual effects supervisor, who's done a bunch of horror, including The Monkey last year, who helped create some of the larger spaces in the movie, as well as some of the more effects-heavy sequences, which probably couldn't be done on a set. I was kind of interested that Parsons had some mega producers involved with this, including Sean Levy and James Wan's production companies, 21 Laps and Atomic Monster, as well as Osgood Perkins from The Monkey and Longlegs as an exec producer. Backrooms might be a bigger budget movie than it might seem, but I don't really know much about the budget at this time. I mean, I think it's going to do really well, and I talked about that in the Weekend Warrior show, I'm sure. One aspect where Parsons really succeeded, where other YouTube creators like Chris Stuckman and Marky Plier, and even Obsession's Curry Barker have kind of failed. He was able to get 2 Oscar-nominated actors in his cast, in Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renato Ensby. He also has Mark Duplass, who's an actor-filmmaker who I actually like equally as a person. He has a very small role in this, but it's one with a lot of potential for more, similar to his own creep horror series that he starred in. But having actors of the caliber of Ejiofor and Ensby really accomplishes a lot in Backrooms, where Marky Plier's Iron Lung really faltered by having him as one of the main actors, because he's not a very good actor. Obsession, obviously, the acting is really good for the most part. I mean, we've been talking a lot about one actor in particular, but I mean, this one, you have these two great actors, and that does a lot to kind of just sell the scares and sell the premise where it might not have with other actors you don't know. I'm trying hard not to spoil anything, but there are so many questions raised by Backrooms, including Mary's connection to these spaces. We see what looks like her in flashbacks with her mother, putting their hands in cement, presumably right outside the store years earlier, and then other flashbacks that make you think that maybe she was down there at one point. But behavior says otherwise. I just left Backrooms confused and frustrated by how so much of the potential inherent in the premise just seemed to be squandered by the end. You leave the movie with no real answers, and yeah, it looks cool. It has some interesting scares. It never really comes together, and it doesn't really leave you wanting to see more or learn more. Again, I'm not really sure how the series was received. Obviously, very well, because people want to see this movie. But there's nothing about this movie that made me go like, "Oh yeah, this is great! Oh my god!" You know. And there's been so many good horror movies in recent weeks, so it's kind of like makes it even tougher. Because of this, I'm giving Backrooms a 6 out of 10, which is definitely a mixed review, but it's leaning negative. Since my 6 out of 10 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are generally on the rotten side compared to other critics who will usually make that fresh. I'm not sure I could sit through this again. I mean, it was fair that I was pretty exhausted when I saw it last night, and I'm not sure if I'd want to see it again, even if I was fresher. It's just like, I mean, it is what it is. It's exactly what it looks like. It's Chiwetel Ejiofor, Renato Ensby, a couple of people walking through the space. Weird things happen. They come across strange objects like furniture merged into the floor, things like that. It's a very unique movie. Some people are going to appreciate it for that. I did not appreciate it for that. I just felt like, what did I watch here? People like it, great. It's going to do really well, great. I will never see it again. 6 out of 10.
Oh my god.
Pull me up, pull me up, pull me up! What do you see?
All these rooms. This place builds them. It's like a maze. It just goes on and on. Sometimes I'm scared I'll get lost.
Clark, can you hear me? I don't understand. What is this?
It's beautiful. Am I right?